Hello and welcome to Fully Charged News. My name's Robert Llewellyn.
My name's Johnny Smith. Hello.
And we've got some very exciting news for you today. We're currently sitting in front of the Fully Charged office, one of the many, the string of offices around the globe, but this is the solar powered one at the moment. We'll get there. I just quickly want to do a quick thanks to two special people from Petrol, Eamon Scowen and Slippery Jim. Thank you very much, the two of you, for supporting Fully Charged. We're very, very grateful. And that's why we get to sit outside in their garden and do the news.
It's a day of solar.
It is a day of profound solar. In fact, at the moment, Johnny's car is charging off the solar as well as the Powerwall. We'll come to the Powerwall. There will be a special Powerwall programme. We're recording it very soon.
That's why you're wearing a hat, because of the solar.
The sheer, look at that. If I do that, I just go out of focus. So it's a lovely sunny day. So first thing, I think the first bit of news that we've got to cover is the Tesla Model 3 production launch.
Yes.
So the car has gone into production after many years of anticipation. There's already, the vehicles are rolling off the production line.
Yeah.
Got some shots of the interior, of what the interior looks like.
There's no interior images have been released for the final production version.
Right, so those interior images are not the final, okay, yeah.
We don't know whether it's going to be that clean, simple, beautiful, kind of minimal, a bit like your Model S, whether it's going to be similar.
Yes, I don't know. It's obviously got a big screen, but all the images I've seen is the screen is in landscape rather than portrait mode, which I think might be quite a good idea.
Yeah, probably a bit neater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's a tiny fault, not a fault, a criticism of the Model S is to be in a comfortable driving position for me, the screen is at maximum kind of arm reach.
Is it?
So you tend to do a bit of leaning forward just to like mark on the map or change the Spotify channel.
That depends on two things, whether you've got the backrest in ghetto. Have you got it in ghetto position?
I have to be in ghetto, low rider ghetto.
It has to be 45 degrees or more, or you're Italian, and apparently Italian men, very short legs, very long arms, which is why Italian sports cars...
So they'll tend to sit nearer the steering wheel, but
they sit further from the steering wheel.
Wow.
But the pedals...
they can't reach the pedals.
It's basically, they used to build undrivable cars.
Right. But they plan to deliver, 500,000 vehicles next year.
500,000?
But that's in total, that is including Model S's and X's. The other story I think that caught my eye that I just thought was so crazy was the Lucid Air, which was, which is quite, there's these two companies. We're going to talk about Faraday in another show maybe, but the Lucid Air, they did their 217 mile an hour car. We mentioned that on a previous news episode. They've now, by switching the software limiter off, they've got the car up to 235 miles an hour.
That is incredible.
Which is bloody fast, isn't it?
Oh, it's really...
and that's a four-seater saloon car.
That's the thing. It's not an arrow-shaped single-seater.
I mean, 235, I don't know what other cars can do that. I presumably your Veyrons.
Your Veyron and now your Chiron.
Chiron
is a 260 mile an hour car, but that is an exception to the rule.
Right, yeah. And those are very, £1 million+ cars, aren't they?
Chiron's over 2. Plus local taxes.
Plus your tax, and you imagine when you work out the VAT on a £2 million car.
I am amazed that they can do that. And what would be great is to know how long it could do 230.
Yeah,
because
it can't be long.
Unfortunately, like the Chiron and the Veyron, there are no roads that can sustain it.
Yeah.
And then it comes down to tyres.
Yeah.
Because the tyre pressure and the condition of the tyres, the carcass, the degradation is so high at that speed.
It must be, yeah. They're using a gallon of fuel every so many seconds.
Oh yeah. The fuel pump, the spec on the fuel pump is lunacy.
Right.
And the tyres are £7,000 a corner, because they have to have special. And probably with this car, it's got to have special. It's got to have specific bespoke tyres.
Yeah.
And also, I know it's not really very EV, but the Veyron, every so many miles, you have to replace the wheels because they're worried about getting stress cracks and fracture.
Wow.
So the wheels could shatter.
Wow.
The wheels are £11,000 each. So you've got £7,000 each for a tyre, £11,000 each a wheel. Don't go curbing it.
No. God, you imagine? You're just reversing it outside Harrods. Oh, £11,000.
Chinked it.
Talking of high-end posh cars, I think this is a really interesting little story. which is Rolls-Royce,
Yeah.
they're skipping hybrids. So because I drove the very first time they built a Rolls-Royce.
Oh, the EX.
The EX, the great big thing.
Which is brilliant. The Phantom converted
The
EV.
Phantom. That was the first time I'd ever been in or driven a Rolls-Royce.
Oh,
It
is
was an
it?
electric one. Yeah, it was great. And that was the great thing about that was
You weren't groomed by a 70s performer then?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, you would have been in a Rolls Shadow then, if that had been the case. Sorry.
Well, what was great was that I was with the engineer, and I remember him saying, I said, so is the weight different on this? And he said, no, it's exactly the same. They've done it deliberately. So they took out the engine,
Yeah.
the gearbox, the transmission system,
Yeah.
which weighs like 1.5 tons,
Oh, my
just
word.
the actual motor and the gearbox.
Yeah.
And they've put in 1.5 tons of batteries at that time, which would have been, this is 4 or 5 years ago.
It was a while ago, I remember.
Yeah,
I remember.
so it was exactly the same weight, and its
Yeah.
absolute performance statistics were identical. So it accelerated at the same speed, which isn't breathtaking because it's a massive.
It's a big slab.
It's nearly
but
4 tons or something.
It's the
car.
feeling of effortless performance.
But it
with
did
the
do that,
Rolls.
yeah, and that's why they were interested in it. Was it went
Yeah.
and it just kept going like that. It didn't have gear changes. It didn't have all that
Yeah.
stuff.
I have to say, I'm so impressed with Rolls because for, I don't know, the last 10 years or more, since EVs have started to become mainstream, the people that say to me, I don't like electric cars because they're too quiet.
Yeah.
And, and people walk out into the road and get killed.
Yeah.
And I always back it right up to the 1920s,
Yeah.
when Rolls-Royce were the most expensive advanced car in the world. And they prided themselves from then until now to build the quietest combustion
Yeah.
engine possible. Because who wants to hear it?
Yes.
If you're in a Rolls, it wants to be library quiet. Rolls-Royce
But, yeah.
is the perfect
It
car.
is, isn't it? And it
for
also,
electric
you also,
propulsion.
where was the Daily Mail headline that said Rolls-Royce silent killer?
Yeah, that's quite.
Yes,
That's coming. In fact, it might be next week.
It might be when they do electric ones.
Yeah.
Now, and the other really big news that lots of people, I mean, I got about 1 million tweets about this, was the Volvo announcement that they'll have electric motors in every car they produce from 2019.
Yeah.
Which is I think that's like a sharper jump. I think that's why it got so much news. I even went on Sky.
Yes.
I did a bit of punditry on Sky.
Punditry?
They used about 7 seconds of
Well,
me.
you have to say, like you, I think it grabbed a lot of people's
Yeah.
attention when this news broke. 2019 is not very far away.
No.
Also, Volvos, they're a really good car. People buy them because they're safe. People also buy them because they are the most comfortable seats, I think,
They're
apart
brilliant,
from
aren't
Bentley
they?
and Rolls,
Yeah.
that sort of higher ranking. And they've said no more diesel.
Yeah. That's the story for me, is the crucial thing. Because when they say they're going to put electric motor in every car, that means they're going to be hybrids, plug-in hybrids and pure electric. But
Yeah.
the majority, we know, will be hybrids.
Yeah.
The middling will be plug-in hybrids, and then the very small amount will be electric, pure
Yeah.
electric. But they'll do them all, which is great. But they're not doing any more diesels. And Volvo have done a lot of diesels.
They've done a shed load. Because the
Yeah.
thing about Volvo is they've been a really good car for many years, but what they've never been groundbreaking in or class leading in is economy.
Right.
Because I guess they've always gone for the USP of safety.
Yeah, which is
means
heavier. Yeah.
which means worse MPG.
I just want to do this because I'm determined to love Volkswagen through this very difficult period of their history.
Yeah.
But they've just found out that the fix for Volkswagen cars to make them their diesel cleaner is just another fix. It's another fiddle.
Yeah.
It doesn't make them cleaner. There's been a lot of there's been a leak of internal documents from Volkswagen saying that the real world tests show little or no difference in toxic nitrogen oxide emissions before and after the fix, which is just like, oh God.
I know.
I mean, it's such a weird thing because I am angry about it, but I should be like out on the streets with a placard
Yeah.
going, ban Volkswagen forever. you
Yeah.
know. But I'm not.
And you're a
I'm-
VW fan.
I'm a
Well, you
VW fan, so I
Yeah.
can't do that.
Yeah.
But I just can't wait until they just don't make it. I want the people who are pushing diesel within Volkswagen to retire or go and do something else.
This is a Lance Armstrong situation for me.
Right.
He's achieved amazing things and he was a genuine hero. And then he found out he was a cheaty man.
Yeah.
But he was still really good.
Yeah.
And let's not make... VW has made brilliant diesel engines.
Yeah.
Very
Really
good,
reliable,
efficient diesel
really,
engines.
yeah.
But the problem is they've told a fib, a very clever
Yeah.
system fib. And now I don't know
got
how they're
caught
going
out,
to...
no.
They're only going to back out of it now once these EVs that they've made many concepts of come to production
Yeah.
and come to fruition. In which case, Volkswagen, hurry up and make that Combi EV thing.
But now this isn't strictly a car story, but I think it's quite an interesting one because it's about France. France is going to institute a ban on all new oil and gas exploration and not issue any more licenses. But
Wow.
Just with my own stupidity, I didn't think there was an enormous amount of oil and gas exploitation in mainland France.
Do you think maybe that's what Emmanuel Macron is doing? He's going, we're not going to explore any oil. It's because we haven't got any.
Yes.
Haven't had any for the
For a
last
long
10
time.
years.
Because you can say this, you can make this great statement.
Yeah.
France will have no more oil or gas exploration. Hey!
Yeah. We haven't got any.
Now.
I know we haven't. Shut
up. I actually think it could be a Trump effect. It could be,
you?
oh my God, he's not doing anything. Gee, let's do it. As opposed to, let's do what he's doing and start fracking even more and dig up more coal.
Oh, so it's a proper knee-jerk reaction to the
It's
opposite.
the other way round. I mean, certainly in Europe, there's clearly a very strong reaction to it. I like this one. This is another little story that came out of the Queen's speech, which I mentioned in a previous news episode, which is petrol stations and motorway services will be required by law to install electric charge points.
That is
under
amazing.
plans outlined in the Queen's speech. I missed that in the original Queen's speech when I skimmed through it. But what I want to make sure of, because there's some petrol stations now you go to and they've got a coffee and they've got buns and they've got... But what they need is some seats and a bit of Wi-Fi because you're there longer. And if they've got any sense, they'll go, let's make that corner really nice. It would do a one step down of all the, which I think is always mythical, but the range anxiety thing. Wherever there's a garage, you can charge the car. So you're going, oh God, we can't make it to Auntie Maisie's.
Yes.
Oh, there's a garage. Pull in there. Just give it 20 minutes. Give it 10 minutes. You might not need to give it that much.
And if
give you that confidence.
if it's a mandatory requirement for all fuel stations and motorway services, if I was an owner of a fuel station, obviously you'd be thinking that person is going to have to come in here and spend money.
And spend some money.
They've got to eat more chocolate or whatever. We're effectively all going to get fatter.
Yeah.
But is that not like welcoming people into a church, but having a little corner where you can talk to Satan if you want?
There's a man in there with a red cloak and some horns.
I was going to say.
He'll supply some very bitter coffee.
Is that? I mean, maybe it's an extreme way of looking at it, but the automated and electric vehicles bill also contains plans to push driverless car technology.
Yes. So they're very this government and that is a cross party as well. Really, like more than I am. I'm sort of thinking. I think it might be quite a good idea, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Fully autonomous cars. I've been in some.
Yeah.
You can see the possible advantages of it, but you're kind of going, there's such a long journey to go and it's so many complexities and pitfalls. The government going, no, we're doing autonomous cars. I mean, they can see the advantages could be truly game changing. I mean, if you did, we'd have less cars, less traffic congestion, less time wasted in cars, all that stuff.
Yeah. We've seen this transition of more people working from home because of broadband and because of connectivity and everything like that. Maybe this is the next big step of you can work in a car. Like when you take the train to work instead of the car and you think, oh, I've got this time. So most people just turn to lager. But you can actually just get a laptop out or your phone out and you actually do some work. Some people just speed
It's on
drink.
the 8:30 in the morning train when I get into London.
I know.
Most of the businessmen, you just hear it as soon as it pulls out the station.
Respectable man, and he's just sculling red stripe, and just because he can, not because he should, because he can. But what was interesting about the autonomy thing is, I was speaking to an insurance underwriter last week, and they were saying that they're having to really analyse the risk rules of autonomy, and they've got to write these rules. Plus, the highway code as we know it, the highway code's got to probably be adapted because
I've never thought of that. Yeah, of
course.
course.
I mean, it's such a big change because, some people are saying you must sit in the actual driver's seat.
Yeah.
You're going to need to put finger and thumb on the wheel periodically to prove that your heart's still beating and that you're alive. And then you've got VW, like that concept Type 2 that we were just talking about, the Combi, where the steering wheel in autonomous mode disappears into the dash.
Right.
Because you don't need it. You don't need the controls. Yeah. And then you press a button and it turns into a captain's chair and you chat to your friends in the boot while you're driving this way on the motorway at 50. I mean, the way I see autonomy as someone that enjoys driving is I think there's a place for it. Yeah. And I think it's soulless inner city driving.
Yes. It's going to be the people who today drive cars and if I was to say to them, what do you drive? And they go, I don't know, it's blue.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people like that. I was like that. I'd go, what is it? Peugeot. It's a van with dents. That's how I'd remember it. And I think, is it a Peugeot or a Citroen?
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't know. I wasn't that interested in it. It was a thing we used to move the kids around in. I think it'll be the next generation, but they'll go, I just need to get a car. Yeah. I need to go to so-and-so. Yeah. So they go blip on their thing and then the car turns up, they get in it. They haven't got a clue what it is or what makes it go along.
So they're
not interested.
Rather than being car enthusiasts, they're more tech enthusiasts.
They might be tech enthusiasts or they might be ease of use enthusiasts. So if it's easy and relatively cheap to use.
Yeah.
The key thing that I understood recently hearing someone talk about it is it's not, units its distance. So car companies aren't going to sell a car. Yeah, they'll be selling miles, not models. I think that was the.
So you bleep your Oyster card because you're going two stops.
You're going 2 stops,
and they know that that's 8 miles.
Yeah,
whatever.
And that's what you're buying is those miles.
I worry that the enthusiasm for like nuts and bolts.
Oh no, exactly. It's going to change, but it'll go. I still think there'll be. I think for 100 years plus, there'll be people driving with steering wheels. Yeah, that's not going to disappear. That's going to get there, and there'll be variants of autonomous cars, like the ones that the steering wheel goes away, and then when you get to the beautiful road in Scotland,
yes,
it's in all the adverts.
Oh, I want to.
I want that steering wheel thing, but then you'll get it and go, I don't know how to use it, or just veer off.
Or will like the normal weekday, the normal commuter schlep.
Yeah.
The love for driving is non-existent.
But I think the other thing is it's also the really crucial bit is that you won't own a car. Unless you're an enthusiast, you won't own a car. They'll just arrive and you'll get in them and they'll go and you'll travel and then they'll go away. Yeah. And there's a lot of advantages in that.
There is.
Don't have to park it, MOT, insurance, service, fuel, wash it, all those things. Yeah. So your relationship with the car is much smaller. We should stop, Johnny. Thank you for joining us on this lovely summer's day in the garden. Have a quick look at the Patreon link beneath this. Please subscribe to Fully Charged. That would be wonderful if you did, if you haven't already. I keep meeting people who watch it and haven't subscribed. I get quite moody when I meet them.
And if there's issues that you want us to discuss, please send them
that's a good idea. Yeah, do tell us. Yeah, very good call. But not.
I've got issues.
We've both got a lot of issues that we could discuss, which are not suitable for Fully Charged. Anyway, if you have been, thank you for watching.
Thank you.